Hi there, this is Dr. Maria with mycustomherbs.com, and we are continuing our journey down the digestive system. Here in part 3, we are going to have some adventures in the small intestine, which is located approximately here on our model Milo. And so to review where we were before this, we were talking about digestion in the stomach. So after eating, our food is broken down into little bitty particles by the fluids in our stomach. A little bit of digestion is taking place in the stomach. Any unwanted microbes hanging out in our food are being inactivated. And then once the food is broken down to a certain extent and the pH of the stomach has reached a certain level, the stomach releases its contents called chyme, which is our partially digested foods and the acids and enzymes and mucus and such from the stomach. And so where the stomach releases that is indeed into the small intestine. And so the small intestine is actually a lot longer than what I have drawn here, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. So the first part of the small intestine encountered is the duodenum. So that is what makes a junction with the stomach. And what happens in the duodenum is that our very acidic stomach contents are immediately neutralized with alkaline bicarbonate. Otherwise, that acid would really burn the heck out of the rest of our digestive tract. It gets down to about a pH of 2, which is highly acidic. And so the duodenum is a place where bicarbonate and other enzymes and juices and such are secreted. And so the pancreas, and here's our pancreas, secretes the bicarbonate to neutralize our stomach acid, and it secretes a wide variety of digestive enzymes to basically finish food digestion. And so there are lipases for breaking down our fats. There are more proteases besides the one that the stomach makes for breaking down our proteins into amino acids. There are more amylases besides the ones in our mouth for breaking down our carbohydrates, getting them on their path to simple sugars. And then there are nucleases, and nucleases are what break down DNA and RNA, the genetic material found in both plant and animal cells. Because guess what? We actually use nuclease breakdown products to make our own DNA and RNA. So again, here's our pancreas that makes a lot of those things. But it's not just about the pancreas and the duodenum. The liver gets involved here as well. And so the liver sends a substance known as bile to the duodenum. And not to get graphic, but bile is the main reason our poop is the color that it is. And so bile consists of water and organic and inorganic salts and pigments. And it is here largely to help with fat digestion. It helps emulsify those fats so that they can be better broken down by our lipases, our fat digestion enzymes, and then they can be better absorbed by a specific part of the small intestine. Now, bile also acts as a laxative and helps us poop a little bit easier. But we'll get to that function when we get into the large intestines. Here's our liver, by the way. So back to the small intestine, that first section, the duodenum, that the stomach links to, itself secretes enzymes. So it makes even more proteases to actually finish the protein digestion that has started in the stomach and has started from those pancreatic protein digesting enzymes. And the intestine also makes other enzymes to finish carb digestion, maltase and lactase and others that breaks down those carbs all the way to single little sugar molecules. Now, the next step on the line is the next segment of the small intestine called the jejunum. These are great names, yeah? The duodenum, the jejunum. And so this is kind of the middle section of the small intestine, and most of our nutrient absorption actually happens down here in the jejunum. And in fact, the jejunum, if you were to look in at it with a microscope, you would see that it's lined with these little finger-type projections that stick into the center or the lumen of the intestine. They're called villi. And this greatly increases the surface area of the jejunum for better absorbing our nutrients. If we didn't have these projections increasing the surface area of the intestine, we really wouldn't have that much surface area to absorb our nutrients. Now, if you were to further look at these villi with a microscope and really zoom in, you would see that they are covered by even more little projections called the microvilli, originally enough. And so this greatly facilitates nutrient absorption. And whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I've often heard the comment that if you were to take out your small intestine and roll it out in terms of its surface area, that it would cover a tennis court. And that's pretty impressive. Anyway, moving along down the small intestine, we come to the ileum. Not as fun of a name as the jejunum and duodenum, but not bad. So this is the very end of the small intestine that ultimately links up with our large intestine, where we're going to go next time. And so the ileum is where we absorb B12, and whatever else is left over will then pass to the large intestine. So anything that's not absorbed in the ileum will then move on into the large intestine. And so next time we will move on into the large intestine and meet it and learn what it does. And until then, thanks for hanging out on our Meet Your Digestive System journey, and be healthy.